You have just read about cooperative and collaborative learning, as well as backwards planning. As you watch this video, keep the following questions in the back of your mind. In what ways am I already using cooperative learning in my classroom? How can I use backwards planning to integrate constructivist teaching and cooperative learning in my classroom? Collaborative learning is a method of teaching and learning where students team together to explore a significant question or create a meaningful project. This might include having students talk about a book chapter that they've read on their own or work together on an experiment. Cooperative learning is a specific kind of collaborative learning. In this method, students work together in small groups on a structured activity. They are individually accountable for their work, and the work of the group as a whole is also assessed. Cooperative groups work face-to-face and learn to work as a team. Some people find cooperative projects challenging. It's possible that some students may end up doing more work than others or dislike their other group members. Personalities clash, and when students have a deadline for an assignment, things can get stressful very quickly. But navigating this kind of conflict is an important life skill that students must develop in order to succeed in life. They must understand how to work as a team and appreciate diversity. They learn leadership skills and communication skills. They are also called soft skills, and not only will they help students succeed in life, but these are the kinds of skills that future employers greatly value. In order to create an environment in which cooperative learning can take place, 3 things are necessary. First, students need to feel safe, but also challenged. Second, groups need to be small enough so that everyone can contribute. Third, the task students work together on must be clearly defined. Students must know what they are trying to accomplish, whether it's creating a diorama or writing a group essay, in order to work together towards that goal. Now that you know a bit more about collaborative learning and constructivist teaching, you might be wondering, how can you start implementing these in your classroom? The best way to do this is to go backwards. Backwards planning is a technique of lesson planning that allows the teacher to consider the results before he or she begins to plan the lesson. Start with the end in mind. What do you want students to learn? What are the specific pieces of information and special skills you want them to accomplish? Think about these things first, and then plan your lessons and activities your students will undertake around these goals. For example, in the last video, you watched a scenario about a teacher who set up different activity tables for her students because she wanted them to do some hands-on experiments with gravity. This teacher did not start thinking about the fun the kids would be having dropping rocks and pieces of paper and measuring how quickly they fell. The teacher knew that she wanted her students to learn about surface area and resistance. She wanted them to work on their collaborative skills, and she knew exactly the kinds of learning styles she had in her classroom, as well as the resources she had access to. By running through this mental checklist, the teacher was able to develop a lesson plan that helped students learn the lesson while also having fun. When using backwards planning to outline your lessons, try running through this checklist in your mind. Go through each step in order. Number 1. Look at learning standards or the desired result. What is it that you want your students to learn? Is there a government or national standard that your students must follow? Number 2. Make a list of the specific skills, concepts, and knowledge kids need to learn. Number 3. Design the final assessment project where students will demonstrate understanding and mastery of these skills, concepts, and knowledge. Number 4. Create a set of lessons that lead up to this end. Here is where you can start thinking about applying constructivist and collaborative approaches. Once you've done this, reflect on the set of lessons. Make sure all the skills, concepts, and knowledge needed for student success with the end assessment are being taught. Let's review. In this lesson, you learned about cooperative learning and backwards planning. You learned that collaborative teaching is a form of teaching where students work together rather than on their own. Cooperative learning is a specific kind of collaborative learning where students work together in small groups on a structured activity. They are individually accountable for their work, and the work of the group as a whole is also assessed. Cooperative groups work face-to-face and learn to work as a team. You learn that students learn soft skills such as communication, leadership, and teamwork during cooperative learning. You also learned about backwards planning. Backwards planning is a technique of lesson planning that allows the teacher to consider the results before he or she begins to plan the lesson. Start with the end in mind. Finally, you received a checklist to run through when using backwards planning in your own classroom. First, look at the learning standards or the desired result. Then make a list of the specific skills, concepts, and knowledge kids need to learn. Design the final assessment or project. Create a set of lessons that lead up to that end. And finally, reflect on this process to make sure you have met your teaching goals. Remember the questions that you asked yourself at the beginning of this video? Now is a good time to answer these questions. Once you've done that, apply your answers to the themes of this video.